Well, yeah, the title of the video says it all, doesn't it? In a very simple way, yes, but I want to sit down here today and talk about my experiences with the game, as well as what the game can offer to everyone that wants to play it. But I've been playing this game for over a week now, and I've been really enjoying it. I've literally been playing it daily because it's really fun. I'm obviously not alone with that assumption either, because the number of players on Steam alone is massive, and most people seem to really enjoy the game, even with its quirks. Before I talk about my experiences with the game, let's talk about the history of the game before its release on the 6th of December. So there isn't actually too much information on the history of this game, but basically the creators of Marvel Rivals worked on two other Marvel titles before this game, with those being Marvel Super War and Marvel Duel, and were given the opportunity to create a third Marvel game title. We don't really know how development went of the game itself, but a closed alpha test of the game was accessible to anyone from the 10th to the 20th of May this year, and this year being 2024. They then had another test for the game by releasing a closed beta from the 23rd of July to the 5th of August in the same year, for both PC and consoles. From there, the game ended up releasing, as I said earlier, on the 6th of December, which is only a little longer than a week ago from when I'm recording this, and Steam player numbers have already hit 480,990 concurrent players, with Marvel Rivals reaching 10 million players within its first 72 hours, which is insane. The only other game I can think of that did this was Apex Legends, and if you know me, you know that I had an addiction to that game, but I haven't played it since this game came out. Anywho, since there's literally nothing else to talk about with this game's history, let's talk about the actual game itself. With Marvel Rivals being out for a week, the reviews have mostly been positive for casual players and critics alike, and with the player base rising more and more at the moment, I don't think that the praise will stop for quite a while. It just depends on how the developers treat the game. Getting straight into the game and loading it up, I really like the art style. The most obvious comparison is Overwatch from both a gameplay and design standpoint, but I really like how the game manages to blend a typical third-person shooter game style with the comic book style too. All the characters look like what they would in comics, but obviously as 3D models, and they look great. Also, the game was released with 33 characters? That's nuts! The best part about it is that all of them are unlocked straight away, so you can play as any of the characters straight out of the gate, and I wish more games did this. All the characters in the game are Marvel characters besides from this motherfucker named Jeff the Landshark, and we will get into how broken this character is later on. Editor me coming in, Jeff the Landshark is a Marvel character. God, I'm a fucking idiot. You have your most popular Marvel characters with Spider-Man, Venom, Iron Man, Captain America, and so on. But in this roster of characters so far, there are some less well-known characters like Psylocke, Squirrel Girl, Luna Snow, and even characters like Magic. Remember Anya Taylor-Joy and New Mutants? Yeah, that character. Whilst I'm on the topic of characters, I really like their different costumes that they have. Some are really average, but you also have some characters that have awesome alternative skins, even though all the movie skins and a couple of other ones will cost you around $20, which is unfortunately normal now. I get it, a free-to-play game has to make money somehow, but they still are a little bit pricey. Also, I want to quickly mention something. I don't know if this is a bug on PC or not, but when I look at the buyable currency, all the prices are in USD. I thought it would automatically change to your currency when in-game, but you only get to see how much it actually costs in your currency when clicking on one of the options. Back into the skins, I find it quite neat how the game easily explains these kinds of things by adding it into the story. With the story of the game, even though there isn't much of one at the moment, it's basically Doctor Doom and his 2099 version clashing with each other, and messing with the multiverse is why we're fighting against each other, but it gets to the point where we have to end up stopping those Doctor Dooms. Let's talk about the characters some more, since each character is a part of a different role, with the three roles being Vanguards, which are the tank characters, Duelists, which are basically your main fighters, and Strategists, which are basically your healer characters, that are there to help the other characters out. They all play completely differently, which is fun, but you really feel some of the characters' weaknesses when playing them, such as Black Widow and Wolverine. You would think that a character like Black Widow would be a long-range and close-range character, since she's a martial artist, but she's only really good at long-range since her rifle's pretty damn good, but not even as strong as Hawkeye's bow. With Wolverine, it really sucks that he doesn't have any kind of healing factor at all, considering that he's a character that becomes useful when you get close to someone, and isn't particularly strong. Even when Wolverine's in your face, I never find it that hard to kill one, because honestly, this man goes down like a bitch. I will say I like how every character has at least 2 or 3 abilities to utilize as a part of their kit, with an ultimate ability as well, that becomes very useful, especially with broken ultimates like Iron Man's Magnum Pulse, healers, Psylocke's, and especially Jeff's, where you can grab a whole team and throw them off the map if they're in the same area. Everyone that plays this game hates this motherfucker, and for good reason. Jeff is just insane at healing people. As I mentioned, his ultimate is insane. You can catch people and have up to 7 seconds to throw them away, which gives Jeff players plenty of time to get to the edge of the map and throw them off. Since I mentioned the map, there are 5 different maps that you can play on with 3 different core game modes. The maps are all a mix of 2 different places or things in the Marvel Universe, such as Yugosgard, Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, Hydra Charterer Space, Hell's Heaven, Tokyo 2099, and Clintar Symbiotic Surface, with Yugosgard and Tokyo 2099 having 2 different variations depending on the game mode. Yugosgard is a mix of Asgard, obviously, but also some random tree known as Yggdrasil, which also goes by the World Tree. Tokyo 2099 is literally just a version of Tokyo that's set in the year 2099. The other 3 maps don't have any information if there are mergers or anything like that, besides from what they're obviously named after. With those maps, we also have 3 different game modes, as I mentioned before, that choose some of the maps that I just listed before as well, such as Domination, Convoy, and Convergence. Domination's just capturing a single point in the middle of the map until your team gets to 100%. Convoy's a game mode where you either have to help move the convoy to the other side of the map, or try to stop the other team from doing so. And the last game mode being Convergence, it's similar to Domination, but it's all about what team captures that area first. For Domination, you have smaller maps such as Yugosgard, Royal Palace, Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, Burnin T'Challa, and Hell's Heaven. With Convoy, you get the biggest maps with Yggdrasil Path and Tokyo 2099 Spider Islands, and lastly Convergence has the other Tokyo 2099 map being Shin Shibuya, the other Wakanda map known as Whole of Jalia, and Clintar Symbiotic Surface. It's honestly not heaps on launch, but at the moment it's fine since the game's been out for less than 2 weeks, but I do hope that the game gets frequent updates like say once a month or something like that. With that too, you also have different types of ways to play this game. With your normal quick play, which is just your typical public matches, ranked, which depending on your experience can be pretty good and actually be fun, or full of toxic morons, and the last game mode is something called Conquest. Conquest is basically just a team deathmatch mode where you have to get to 50 first, and the one thing that really sucks about this is that there's only one map to play on, and it's a variation of Tokyo 2099 known as Warp to Ninomaru, and it's an extremely small map too. I played this once, but we ended up getting our asses kicked in this, so maybe I'd enjoy it more if I played it more. Speaking about the game modes, apparently NetEase is already teasing a new game mode coming to the game, which is actually quite neat. Since I've pretty much mentioned everything that this game has to offer, I just really enjoyed this game. I've been playing this game daily for almost a week now, and I think because this game's so fresh at the moment is why I'm enjoying it so much. Even playing weaker characters is fun, such as Black Widow, because I would pop off with her sometimes, since I come to this game from playing Apex Legends, which is a first-person shooter. I just feel like I'm good with shooting guns in games since I've stuck to Apex since that came out, so most of the time I'm sticking to characters with guns in their kits. I ended up actually switching to the Punisher, and man, he's just so easy to pick up and do well with. My first or second game with him, I managed to get over 20,000 damage, which is actually so stupid, but it just shows how strong he can be. The only real weakness with characters like these I notice is that they don't have much mobility at all, or little of it, and that's where these characters can get punished hard. But every character in this game has their weaknesses, and that's what I like about this game. Even though some characters are busted, I actually enjoy how this game went for the approach of making every character overpowered to balance each other out. It just makes the game fun and makes people think of ways to counter other characters that you're fighting against. Also, having the map being destructible is really damn cool, and sometimes you can get some nice angles on enemies by just destroying a hole in the wall. The map does get repaired after a bit of time, because if it didn't, the whole map would be absolutely destroyed. Also, when I tried to play Venom, I really don't like how the swinging works in this game. It feels really jank. Since I mentioned Apex Legends earlier, this swinging should be like Pathfinder's grapple, but it really isn't. It doesn't feel nearly as smooth. And also, when you try and aim your web somewhere to swing, it doesn't go where you aim it most of the time, which I wish it did. I wish it was like Pathfinder's grapple where you had an indicator on screen, goes a certain color when you're in range to use your web and swing, and actually shoot it where you're aiming. But this game doesn't have that. It just like automatically locks onto a certain wall. Even when you turn off easy swing, it doesn't go where you want it to. The last thing I want to mention is that the team up abilities are really neat and quite fun to mess around with, and some of the abilities are better than others, but this is such a new and neat idea, and it really adds another gameplay element to this game. To end this video off though, we're really in the end game now.